on the 6th day of February, we were assigned to Berlin, and my crew and I were able to do a good job, I think, on that in our formation flying and watching the other groups and pretty fair weather. I believe that we had, as I recall, good weather until we got back home. That's when it really counts, too. We had very low visibility, and the man I was flying on his wing, the fellows ahead of us had pretty well cleaned out the German fighters. So we really didn't have one. They'd make a firing pass and be gone. I don't think they wanted to come in on us any more than we wanted them to, because we had, gosh, I think I'm telling you right, 12 50 caliber machine guns firing at him, firing at them, against whatever he had, I'm thinking 2 in each wing for. So they weren't real happy about having to do it. And they'd sit there in the sun, and then all of a sudden they'd make a break. First of all, they'd pick a group that was not flying a good tight formation. We had a few stragglers like that, and they'd go for a single kill and be gone. We got home on that one, another very low weather day, when my lead captain, I was probably made first lieutenant by now, but that was it. The guy I was flying on, in making our instrument approaches, we'd leave the buncher, which was the radio beacon at our air base, off the end of the runway, and fly straight ahead, letting down until you saw the ground. And old Granny Lansdale saw the ground, pulled back because it was close, and he left his tail cone and tail gunner on a knoll, and the gunner, what the tail cone looked like, it was, I guess maybe this big enough for a man to sit in, like so. Went rolling along the ground, and I then understand we went ahead and landed ourselves, but then I understand they sent the air police out looking for him, and they found him walking home, parachute wadded up over his shoulder.
You mean he lived?
He lived. Walked home, crossing the channel into Europe. I lost an engine. An engine failed. The number 2 feathered it. Everything was okay. I could stay in formation on 3 engines, and so I did. I did not get to the target because I then took on the bomb run, I took a hit in the number 3 engine, and just flat blew it off of the airplane. Nothing but tubes and hoses and stuff hanging out there in the slipstream where the engine was. And at that point, I had probably about 25,000 feet and a pretty long way to stretch that 25,000, and one engine. I'm down to let's see, number one still running. 2 were feathered, 3 were shot off, and 4 went to an oil leak. So I'm on 1, and we stretched that back to about halfway between Berlin and Essen, when we had to bail out. We had to leave it. I bailed the crew out. They used the rear exit of the airplane, and the navigator and I, according to the tech order, according to SOP, we bailed out the front exit. And on bailout, I got down to the exit, which was on the lower left side of the fuselage. 2 red handles connected to the hinge pins. Pull those, the door drops away, and that's your exit. When I got to that exit, Mac was already there. It's just a short stroll from his position to the opening. But he couldn't pull the hinge pins. They were rusted in position, and we couldn't open the door into the slipstream enough to get out. He was on his hands and knees on the door, and it opened about that far. I was on his shoulders, thinking that the weight of the 2 of us combined might cause it to open, but no such luck. I believe at that point the wing burned off from the fire in 3. The fuel in the tanks and lines fed the fire from number 3 when 3 got knocked off, shot off. The airplane started into spin, and with the, I think I'm confusing myself now, with the number 1 engine, the only engine still running, started pulling us into a big circle, and when that wing came off, it went into a spin. We were able to unlatch the door, and as the airplane slowed down in the spin, it opened and we tumbled out. Boom, boom, just like that. Dropped into a cloud undercast. As soon as our parachutes opened, I could see Mac below me, maybe, 100 feet, 200 feet, we were close enough that we could talk. We could holler back and forth. You know, hey, Mac, yeah, where are you? I'm above you. I'm back east a little bit from you. And he said, I can't see you because of my parachute. As we continued to fall, it became more certain to me that we were following the airplane down and we were going to be very close to it. So I thought I would slip my parachute. Never parachuted before, but I'd slip my parachute and hurry the fall from maybe where I was, 15,000 feet, something, 10,000 feet, something like that, down to a much lower altitude that would allow me to hit the ground before I drifted into the airplane fire. When I did that, the parachute collapsed. That side of the parachute collapsed. I turned loose of the shrouds from pulling them, and the darn parachute opened itself back up. And now I'm lower than Mac. And I landed short of the fire. Mac went through the flames, singed his hair to prove it. You can sure smell it. We bundled up our parachutes, wadded them up, put them under our arm, and ran back into woods that surrounded the field we had landed in. The rounds of 50 caliber gun ammunition was cooking off all kinds of weird, bad noises coming from the fire. But we got ourselves together, and this was a field, an agricultural field that we had fallen into. So we ran back in woods, and the field was surrounded by woods. We ran back in the woods a ways, checking to see if any Germans were coming to the fire or coming after us or our direction.